Virgo, I feel like very like politically dramatic. I don't know. It's like politics and the news. You're getting involved in conversations about that, and it's kind of like making you uncomfortable, but like you're not like you're comfortably uncomfortable because it's something that like you want to process, but it's uncomfortable. Whatever this is, you know. Or you're like having some conversations with specific people. This isn't for everybody, but for those of you who are getting into conversations about like politics and like, you know, civil rights and stuff like that, if that makes sense. You know, it's kind of like getting to you, right? You're in your head a lot about things. But it's beautiful because it's kind of making you see, I don't know, some kind of light. All right, so let's go ahead and cut it. I wasn't really like, yeah, this is you. All right, Virgo. So let's look at what card you have in the center of the reading. And that is the Princess of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. So this is saying, you know, you're reckoning with something. Information, thought processes, thoughts weighing heavily on you, or processing information, hard to process the information. Think of the cloaking as the processing and the sword as the information, right? So the sword is the information and the cloaking is trying to process it. Oh my gosh, right? Shredding. But you're figuring out a way to maintain a sense of flexibility, right? You know, it's like, it's weird because you're mixing intelligence and wit. You know, it's not funny, but it's funny. But it's funny, but it's not funny. You know? Some of you could be comedians, or some of you could be trying to, you know, I don't know, you're kind of expressing your way through something. Artfully? Okay, let's look at what's going on. What else is going on? King of Swords, right. There we go. So it's like the Princess of Swords is like, light, comedy. Oh, I said that? Oh my gosh. Oh, oops, you know. Well, it's true, right? Think of the way to what I said, right? Right? Because sometimes you have to use humor to prove a point, you know? And maybe sometimes it's not necessarily humor. Haha, I want you guys to laugh. But what I said was clever. And I said what I said, and you may have thought it was a reckless comment, but it wasn't reckless because I was being ignorant. It was it was almost like a backhanded comment on a topic that it would take someone who was flexible in the ways that they communicate with others to be able to like hold in their hand. You know, it's like, okay, so some people can't hold this topic in their hand, and some people can't communicate with this, and some people won't be able to pass this ball back and forth, this topic, but I can do it with you in this way because I know that we both know what we really mean and what I really mean, you know? Because here we have a card that talks about intellect, wisdom, and being cynical too. So it's kind of that's when we're using, you know, kind of dark comedy and reality, right? So we're being a cynic right? Cynical, King of Swords, Aquarius, right? So I can see the big picture. I can see how things are connected, and I can have people make certain connections without having to drag them through all of the details of something, right? So that's kind of like what you're doing, Virgo. You see what I mean? Oh my gosh. It's very much being in the head. We know you're in the head. You kind of like the air sign of the earth signs, if you will. Right? Because they're so mutable and so flexible. Right. You know, so it's like, I feel like somebody even wants, you know, no sides being taken here. You know, because the air cards, well, King of Swords will take sides. He will. And the Princess of Swords probably would too. I feel like the Knight of Swords doesn't necessarily take sides because it's like anybody. And I feel like the Queen is also like anybody. Let's see what's going on. I feel like you can go from like being cool, calm, and da-da-da to like, you know, going from light to heavy. Things can go from light to heavy really quick, right? So you're trying to like stay away from like the extremes, you know, extreme conversations. People who are conspiracy theorists, you know, you're trying to stay away from that, right? Because it's not good for your mental health to always be around people who are coming up with their own kind of like scenarios, their own truths, right? Misguided truths, right? False information, all that. Or people that just speak ignorantly about things that they know nothing about. You're over it. Okay? So now we're moving to the Eight of Pentacles. It could be like at work. You know, you could be like, you know what, I'm just going to keep working. Let's keep work with work. Like when we're at work, let's not talk about that. Because, and it's not because I don't want to talk about it. And it's not because I can't bring some, you know, intelligent perspective or some insight into it, into the conversation or the topic or whatever. But it's like, there's a time and a place, and this is not it. You know. And the Eight of Pentacles is also saying that, you know what I mean, let something serve its function. And this could be like your gift or what you do best. It can serve a function in a way, you know, that could bring, you know, that could be of service to others, right? It's saying like, make the best of your resources as well. Making your resources last, you know? And this is how you bring in more, you know, commerce, how you bring in more clients. The Eight of Pentacles talks about like, yeah, I'm producing things because I know there's a demand for it, right? Okay? I'm doing this because I know there's a means, you know, behind it. There's meaning behind it. I'm motivated to do this. Taking pride in your work, right? And if you forgot, now you know, you remember. Don't forget what you do and what you do well, right? I don't like it when people do something well that isn't connected to like their job or their career, like meaning like they have to do something all the time. Then sometimes it's like the joy is taken out of it, but you have to remember the joy that comes from doing what it is that you do, right? And if you don't get joy in that, then you have to find it somewhere else, or you have to make it. You have to manifest joy. That's what the Eight of Pentacles is talking about. Sometimes you have to manifest joy. Right? Because life sometimes can become mundane. So you have to make the joy. Bringing joy to other people too. That's also what the Eight of Pentacles is talking about. You know, so that's what that talks about, right? Okay. Princess of Swords, Five of Cups. Somebody said something that was harsh. someone said something that like they didn't think about it. It was like impulsively said, you know, and it left, or maybe they were just ignorant of like how the emotional impact that you were left with, how it could have left you with, right? Because this is somebody that doesn't think about that, right? They made so many mistakes. They're used to this has happened before, right? No, I'm getting something. You know, it's like you are getting some kind of reassurance that you are not comfortable with about something or about someone, right? It could be someone that you found attractive, sexy. It could be somebody that you have this allure with, but then it's kind of like, no, you know, I don't feel the same way, right? Yeah. Especially with that ace of, with that king of swords being there. That's connected to the four of swords, right? Your thoughts are not my thoughts. Your opinions are not my opinions. Your feelings are not my feelings. Okay? Don't take on the emotional burden that other people leave you with, right? Don't take on that. That's not for you, right? You're smarter than that. You know what I mean? And then we got the four of swords here, or sorry, the king of swords with the four of cups behind it. The four of cups is talking about emotional complacency. You know, you're stuck on a feeling that's preventing you from seeing something that can take you out of this place that you're in, you know? And this is all kind of like circumstantial, right? So it's like the four of cups is saying that you don't have to give your emotions the attention that they are demanding from you, you know? Because sometimes the emotional intelligence comes from being able to process your emotions in a way that will kind of help you deal with them rather than wallow in them or sulk in that feeling, right? It's like sometimes emotional intelligence is like how you handle, how you face the emotions, how you stomach things, you know? And sometimes you get mad with people that your stomach hurts. I don't know, so that's for some of you guys. You know, like when you get mad, your stomach starts hurting, or you have like irritable bowel syndrome or some shit like that. You know, when you get mad, it's like, or you feel it in your gut, right? You gotta change it, basically. Because the four of cups is like, oh, you know, your emotions are an illusion anyway. You can't believe them. Don't let them lead you. You know what I mean? Your emotions are coming from some other place, right? They're a navigational tool. They are going to make you aware of something, but once you are aware of that thing, you know, then you can begin to process it. You know what I mean? Because you can't hold on to it because it's just going to get like kind of clumsy. Right? Emotional boundaries are important. You know, you're trying to overcome the emotional impact of something. You're trying to not get stuck and don't let your feelings manifest your reality. There's always a way out of these feelings. And I'm not saying run away from the feelings or escape from them. I'm saying like, you know, face it. Face whatever it is that's challenging you. You know, you're gonna have to make a decision. You're gonna have to make a choice. See? Right? This also says keep it moving. Don't get stuck on like, you know, the idealism behind something. If that makes any sense. The Two of Swords is like, I'm battling with myself emotionally because I'm stubbornly not making a decision, or I'm stubbornly not saying something, or I am choosing to deal with someone's stubbornness or deal with someone's emotional insensitivity, right? but I don't have to. You know what I mean? This says speak up for yourself when you're trying to protect yourself, okay? Emotionally. Bye. I'm over.